Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case, and welcome if you're currently here in the live chat. Today, I'm going to be doing like a sideline coverage of certain individuals within the Dylan Rounds case and what's been talked about recently. So this is referring to Salty Pancake's last live stream. I know some people don't mind him, other people can't stand him. It's just one of those typical situations. I'm just going to bring up a few little points here and there regarding certain individuals, and it might tie in with some of the ideas, theories I put forwards in the past, okay? So as I go along, you can share your thoughts, your ideas, responses. If you have additional information or you want to correct something, feel free to do so. And you can talk about other stuff in between. And also, don't worry, this is a normal video. If anyone survived after the last one, then well done. So, in terms of one of the key individuals talked about within Pancake's video at the start, and also in this one I'm going to be covering, is to do with Brookie. Did I say that correct? Brookie with a double E on the end. An individual that has popped up here and there within the Dylan Rounds case, more to do so with, I guess, later on and with Jim Brenner being imprisoned. If you remember, some of you may know her, others not, but in recent time, Brookie, must have been some kind of like news article that's resurfaced, which was back in 2019. Now, I can't show you that article because, I tried, and because of not being in the US, it won't allow you. But I can show you a picture and then we can like compare, contrast, see if it is actually them or not. But it was brought up by Jim Terry, that private investigator, or I don't know if you'd call him an ex-private investigator of the Dylan Rounds case, where he's still directly involved or not. It's probably still behind the scenes, things are going on. But Jim Terry popped up in Salty Pancake's live stream talking about Brookie, saying he's found her, found previous stuff in the past which could reveal things about her. Not like personal or nothing dodgy like that, just like a bit of a brief backstory to them, okay, generating certain ideas of what Brookie could be about and her intentions, motives, you know what I'm saying? So I'll just kind of like summarize the article in a way and then show you a picture. So it was 2019 and it said something about family find out that one of the family members is in jail or something like that. And it's like a picture of a woman holding a phone up with a guy, like a mugshot. I assume it's the father because it's a male, looks older, in jail. They've only just found out now. And it's like, why have they only just found out now? I can't read the article, so it might explain there, but if I had to give a guess, maybe it's because we weren't around back then. Quick on the spot, it's not accurate, it's very rough, but it could be one of those situations, arguably, where, okay, the father isn't present at the time back then, absent, it could lead to certain issues or certain voids which need to be fulfilled, so that then later on down the line they may end up going to see inmates or for some reason, whether it's part of their profession or not, and of older age and of a certain gender male, because it makes them have comfort or something. It sounds dodgy, but it can happen at times. I'm not saying that's the case here, it's just like a rough suggestion, okay, just to put forwards. So with this going on, I think it generated ideas saying like, is this not like the first time she's doing it? Other times as well, like with the whole visiting Jim Brenner. Not literal, I don't think it was physical, that was more of a like a virtual call or something, I guess. I don't know why, but that's what was said previously. And people were saying within Pancake's live stream that, has she done that sort of stuff beforehand in the past? Could I explain something? Now, I can get a bit more into that shortly, but let me just share with you the photo of this individual back in 2019, and we can do like a side-by-side comparison of the Brookie on YouTube, okay? Right, so here we are. I've arranged the photos side by side so it's easier for you to compare visually. I said you can leave your thoughts in the chat as we go along. Maybe to some people, they'll be thinking, nah, no similarities whatsoever. Well, I'll give you my opinions shortly, right? So, on the left-hand side, that is the profile picture on YouTube of the Brookie, the actual Brookie, okay? Then on the right-hand side is supposedly Brookie once again, but in 2019. Now, an additional point is the one on the left of Brookie. I don't know when that was taken, in recent time or in the past when she might have been younger. I don't know their age, so you're limited to what you can infer from. But as a brief backstory, if I haven't mentioned it already, the reason why the person on the right hand side is supposedly Brookie as well is from when Jim Terry was searching about, looking at the articles. He managed to find the phone number of this individual or so, tried ringing a few times, wouldn't get through, then changed the phone number up or used a different phone number of his, and it went straight to voicemail. So he said about how, it must have been blocked. So that must mean Brookie blocked him at a point in time for certain reasons. And as well, when digging about, he found the person on the right-hand side, that their name was, in fact, Brooke. I don't know if it had the double E on, but was also called Brooke. So that's, the reasoning behind that. Now, you could be thinking, so what? How does it link to the Dylan Rounds case? What's the importance of it? Well, I will get into that shortly and I can explain. But for now, I just want to give a visual analysis of whether this person is in fact the Brookie or another person, okay? So when you look on the left-hand side and you look at Brookie, I said, I don't know the age. You look at her hair, it looks kind of brownish and a little dark on the inside part near her neck. On the right-hand side, that individual, their hair is much darker, almost bordering onto black, but kind of like really dark brown. And then at the ends, it kind of fades out. Do you call them streaks? Where it's dyed hair, different colouring, it fades out, creates a bit of colour contrast. I'm not an expert in this department, and I don't know why I would be, but if you are, or if you have an idea, you can leave your thoughts down below. But yeah, in terms of the hair colour, there is a difference. Anything else about the hair, the length of it? Well, it kind of looks the same length with Brookie on the left. The hair goes down to about the neck area and maybe a little bit further down, but not like really low down so it covers the two areas and all that. I don't know why I brought that up, but on the right hand side, that person's hair is just to the shoulders, the tips of the shoulders. But this is the key thing, okay? Depending on the timing, it's all relevant and it can play a role. When it comes to hair can be altered with in both length, style and colour. People can dye their hair depending what mood they're in, what colour they like at the time. So all that is malleable. Is that the correct word? All that can be changed. So you can't look too deep into that, really. But then again, I guess when you look at the style of hair, you see how it, like the fringe part, it kind of comes over diagonally, comes down diagonally, almost bordering onto the person's eye, covering the left eyebrow. When you look at the picture on the right-hand side, the hair seems to come down, but covers the right eyebrow. I think I'm correct in saying that. I don't know if the images have been reversed, flipped or not. So there is that. And in terms of the hair parting, you got to take that into mind, how the hair comes down, how it separates. That does play a part, which is worth looking at. Now, is there anything else to look at? In terms, I guess you call it the skin complexion, Brookie on the left, her skin looks fairly smooth. There's a colour tone to it. The cheek area, it shines a little. The forehead kind of darkens, fadens. Fadens, that's not a word. It fades slightly, if that's what you call it. Near the eye and the nose, that could be shadowing, but the colour tone there, it's like more vivid, there's more contrast, there's more depth to the face than on the right hand side, where the person on the right, their face appears more pale. You can see like a few little dots and stuff, but then again the person on the right might not be wearing any makeup from the looks of it. In terms of the eyebrows, they kind of look similar in a way. They're kind of thick, or like wide, if you call it that. In terms of the lips, though, the person on the right seems to have slightly thicker lips. Brookie on the left, the mouth's a bit more like stretched out, but it depends like if the person's smiling or not. That can change. Or if you were going to kiss someone, obviously your lips change in shape then, you appear less wide because you what do you call it, you're sticking your like your lips out, you're pushing them outwards like that. I'm not an expert with that, but yeah, it changes like that. Whereas if you're smiling, your face is kind of wider, your lips are wider. So that's another thing. Once again, it's all down to the angling of the photo and the facial expressions at the time when it was taken. From the looks of it, the photo on the left is taken there's more awareness behind the photo taken. The person's taking a photo of themselves, whereas on the right hand side it looks as if they're posing for a photo but trying to look away from the camera, that sort of thing, to make it look a bit more natural. Does that make sense? It's just looking at these like little details. In terms of Brookie's eyes on the left, colourful blue. Well, it's a light blue. You can see that they're staring deep into the camera lens, almost as if they were like staring into your soul, that sort of thing. The one on the right isn't giving eye contact because, as I said, it looks like one of those publicity, media coverages, photo shoots, that kind of thing, to appear in some kind of article. So they've got to appear to be looking distressed or looking away from the camera to make it look more natural, more realistic. You can't quite make out the eye colour on the right hand side. We try and zoom in there. Does that look blue to you in terms of her eyes, her pupil, or not pupil, her eyes? Do they look blue? To me, they look pretty dark, but then again, that could be the shadows, the eyeliner, the mascara, that sort of stuff, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, just zoom out and then you look at her eye. You see the light colour blue tone. What about the nose? The nose does it look similar? It's hard to tell, to be honest. I mean, the tip of the nose looks similar in a way. The bridge of the nose, I can't tell because it's at different angles. And then the nostrils kind of look similar, the way it's shaped. This is what I mean, once again, because of the angling of the face, they're not looking to the side, both of them. One's looking directly at the camera, the other one's looking away. So with these different perspectives and angles, it's hard to tell, like with the eyes as well, because they're not looking at you, so you can't tell what colour. So it is one of those things where you're limited. In terms of the chin, I don't know, it kind of, Goes a little bit to a point on the left, on the right, a little bit more rounded maybe. Yeah. In terms of the overall head, or like the shape, the person on the right seems a bit more rounded, whereas on the left you see, well, it just seems more sculpted. Is that the correct word? Like the shaping of it. Yeah, it's a bit more defined in a way. But that's another thing, you know, like with the hair, that can change with time. The same can happen with, the overall shaping of someone's head or jaw or neck area, whether it be putting on weight or losing weight. All that can alter someone. You might see someone one day who looks healthy, let's say, and you see them a few months later, and let's say they've not ate much and they're really, really underweight, and you might think, oh, who's that? And you don't realise it's the same person because the face looks very thin, skin colour might have changed as well, they've developed some other changes as well physically, and so on, and it can happen vice versa in other different situations too. Now, the person on that phone on the right hand side, that is the individual, the family member that was found out to be in jail. What's their name? Can't quite read it. Timothy Adkins or something, or Keith Timothy Adkins, whichever way you say it. Which county jail is that? Can't quite see because it's not that clear. But because of the age of the individual, they could well be the father of this person. I've just got to make sure I don't scroll down because I don't want it to zoom in on the chest area because I don't think YouTube will be too happy with that. Oh God, that'd be awkward. But, you look at that individual, okay, are they directly linked within the Dylan Rounds case? No. This is 2019. Let's just clarify that. What the hell's that noise? It must be the some machinery next door. Fuck me, I thought there was a bee or wasp. Or is that? I don't know, I can hear a weird buzzing sound. That's creepy. But if you hear me say, ouch, I've been stung, okay? Get help, if that's the case. So, yeah, okay. I'm fucking throwing up my train of thoughts and I was trying to talk then. Another train to come in and cause noise. Anyway, in the words of Silverheels, you look at the two individuals side by side. It could be them, it might not. But let's move on to some additional points and claims regarding the Brookie herself, okay? Some of the points put forward, and I don't know if it was in direct correlation to that other woman on the right-hand side in 2019 who supposedly is Brookie, the Brookie, or if the claims were put towards the one on the left-hand side, the Brookie, the one people know her by. But again, I'm not saying that she could be some kind of journalist. People throwing questions and observations around, trying to understand who is this individual, because I think to some people, certain people, whether it be the YouTubers or viewers or a mix of both, when it comes to the Dylan Rounds case, I think they view Brookie as a mysterious individual. They come and go, they're not here all the time, they only say so much and then do whatever else and people don't know what they get up to, that sort of thing. Maybe it's the way they talk, the way they drop little hints, make little jokes, or leave people on the edge of the seat, like cliffhanger type language, who knows? But some people seem to be enticed and others are a bit confused and trying to get down to the bottom of what this individual, who they are, what they're all about, and what are their intentions and motives, because you have played a fair role within the case, and that's probably why people want answers, just to make sure that nothing dodgy is going on or suspicious, because as we know, the Dylan Rounds case, I don't know if you'd call it mysterious, but definitely deep. Different layers, different people involved. One person knows another, and then it kind of goes full circle back to the beginning. Different environments, styles of crime, past history and all that. It's all like intertwined into one another, so it can get a bit messy at times. So, as I said, some people were assuming that Brookie could be some kind of journalist going around getting the latest stories, learning about people, retrieving information. That was one of them. Some people were saying that maybe she's just a true crimer, YouTuber. You can get all kinds of people who are like true crimers, both content creators and viewers. True crimer, basically people that are into crime. I mean, I don't know if anyone's heard of it, but you've got the TCC, the True Crime Community, and that abbreviation tends to be more heavily focused on serial killers like Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, maybe Ed Gein, Charles Manson, Edmund Kemper, the BTK killer, H.H. Holmes, the gorilla killer, the chessboard killer, something like that, the Ken and Barbie killers, or, crime people. Is there anyone else? Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. Is there anyone else? Gary Ridgway, you got him. There'll be like other people as well here and there, but like they're the sort of people look at who are interested in, whether it be certain fantasies or if it's just genuine interest in other people because the whole psychology behind it. But sometimes, or most of the time, the TCC gets a bad reputation from the looks of it, from what people have said, because people start obsessing about killers, create these like little videos and photos and all these hearts and everything, and it gets a bit like that. Some people might be thinking, oh shit, what's going on within the Warlike Wrath appreciation chat or something, or the WLW Charles Manson Reformed group. We're hiring. Please join if you want. You're in safe hands. God. No. Yeah. Gets a little bit dodgy. Dodgy time. Okay, we'll allow a bit of dodgy time here and there. Why not? But you get the idea. As for true crime in general, that can apply just to crimes, murder cases, murder mysteries, and all that. All different types, styles, and stuff like that. Something like the Kenny Veach case isn't like a true crime one because there isn't like a definite crime behind it. If it was found out that Kenny, who's classified as a missing person case, a cold case, there was evidence to suggest that he's been killed or something, then you could call it a murder mystery, then apply the tagline, true crime, and then people who come along, who become fans, interested, can become true crimers. That's kind of like how it goes. I'm sure you'll probably get some really high-level, evolved individual who will correct me and say, oh my God, man, you got that wrong. You got the wording wrong. Oh my God, get it right. And I'm like, okay, calm down. Okay, you can list your grievances down below. So hush for now. Simmer down. So, yeah, that's what the suggestions are, okay? Either some kind of journalist working in the media, Brookie, or a true crimer just interested as like a hobby, cover it herself, make certain videos and stuff as she has done on a channel, and in recent time got involved, interested within the Dylan Rounds case. But this is the question, is it interested in Dylan Rounds, trying to find him, or is it interest in the criminal or criminals involved? That's like how it is when it comes to other types of true crime. You get fans, people who look into a case, into a mystery, all the facts, details, bullet points, but doesn't mean to say they are researching specifically directly to help solve the case, but moreover just to learn about it, so then they can maybe interview, confront, talk with another dodgy person, a person tied up within the case, because it makes them excited, maybe. That's one way of looking at it, at least. I mean, the same could happen if they're a journalist, go around certain cases and people, interview them, talk to them, learn, and then move on to the next person, then to the next person to create these articles and stories. But I guess you got to ask yourself, have you seen any articles or stories posted online under the name of Brookie? You know, are they doing it like anonymously? Are they passing it on to somebody else to publish? Is their name mentioned on anything? That's what you got to look at, because then that can either reinforce that Brookie is some kind of journalist or secret investigator in some way, and it's done for certain reasons, or it could be like debunked and just written off, and she's just simply a true crimer. In my opinion, what would I say? I'd say they more than likely are a true crimer, interested in different cases, and this one's caught their attention in recent time. So yeah. Now, this is the thing what we need to tie on to now, the significance of Brookie when it comes to the actual case itself. What, is she just an individual that watches the odd video online, leaves some comments, and then that's it? No, there's nothing wrong with that. But if we're talking about significance in terms of involvement and the impact they may have, it's like there is more to it. There is more to Brookie, okay? And that comes down to engaging in those live panels and live chats. I think it's more over on No Thanks, or exclusively on his. She joins in, talks about things, the situations, the way things are going. And that's to do with Jim Brenner. And you tie it back with like the interest in being a true crimer or almost acting like a journalist. You know, those characteristics do tie in with her actions, because I said, I don't know if it's a formal prison visit, or if it's over a laptop screen, computer screen, a virtual call, a virtual meeting. I have heard it was done in that style, correct me if I'm wrong, where Brookie, I don't know if it's like once a week or I don't know how many times it's happened, if it still continues, where she basically met up with Brenner virtually or physically and just like talked to him, asking him, I guess, how he was, certain questions, but nothing too specific, okay? Just to get a feel for things. And the first time round, from what Brookie said, Jim Brenner's response was, "Oh, I didn't expect to see a person like you here." And that could be to do in reference of, because the gender, first of all, maybe the age and the appearance of the individual, maybe. Someone like Jim Brenner at his age, him being regarded as a threat, a danger, people being scared of him, maybe. And he knows that, maybe he likes that, but when an individual who, I don't know how you'd quite describe it, could be considered the opposite of Brenner in a way, in terms of appearance, age, not being considered a danger, and yet they are approaching a dangerous person. It's like, oh, a bit taken back. Like, why would you come near me when I am such a bad boy? You know, I don't want to corrupt your mind. You know, if you get too close, I don't want your mind to be corrupted. You know, something like that. No, we're not going into one of those videos again. No, not yet. But that's probably why Jim Brenner was taken back. And if he's taken back, does he expose himself slightly? That's sounding a bit dodgy, that. Does he reveal a different side to him? You know, sometimes the element of surprise, however it's done, it can make someone either tell the truth, reveal something that they weren't supposed to, or something that wasn't, something they wouldn't normally do, because they've got like a high defense. The defense is built up maybe through denial, stubbornness, playing a game, mind games, you know, messing around because they want to be in power, you know. And because of Brookie's presence, her appearance, her just simply turning up or wanting to meet up with him in some way or another, he's like, whoa. And for some reason decides to start revealing information which he normally wouldn't and hasn't done beforehand. Okay, something like that. Now, what exactly has been revealed? Well, me personally, I'm not quite sure because, the videos on YouTube are all scattered about and they're a part of a much bigger video, but maybe you can find them when you're out there. I think when I heard it briefly, it was like, because I only saw like 1 or 2 videos, and it looked like it was at the beginning where Brookie was just basically just asking brief questions here and there, like maybe like, how are you? Or like, how's things going on? Have you been up to anything? That sort of stuff, whether it be like literally in prison, how are things, or just before that, but not like asking really personal, direct questions about where is Dylan? Do you know where you placed him? Are you the one responsible? Not like that, because if you did, then the person will shut off very quickly. It's a slow game. It's almost like chess. You got to make the correct move to be able to penetrate through their defense. Okay? If you make the wrong move, you slip up once, then you're locked out and you cannot be trusted again. So it's almost like a game, and it does make you think, is that what's going through Brookie's mindset, or was back then? You tie in, if she is some kind of journalist, then she probably has a certain game plan, certain tactics and methods on how to act and what to ask and all of that, because they're trained in that, or the research and stuff, so they can get an outcome they want. That's one way. If it's just simply a true crimer who might like the individual, look up to them in some kind of way, whether it be some dodgy fantasy or just plain interest or something, then maybe Brookie might ask soft, nice, touchy questions, I don't know, stuff like that, to set the mood, set the tone, to make it seem all relaxed, calm and nice, and there's like a little sharp edge of manipulativeness, or like a sharp edge of alertness. At some point she might end up trying to go for the killing blow, not literally, just in terms of a direct question, slipping it in without being detected. That sort of stuff. You never know, that could be how it works. People act and react differently when it comes to that sort of stuff. I mean, like, I came across one person in the past who, not even in the area, decided to write a letter to a random prisoner, and it's like, you don't know the person, so why bother? And it's like, oh well, that's their response. And it's like, okay, so random things can happen. It's not always down to people being 100% obsessed about a case, a criminal. You can just get these like random people that just do it for a laugh, or just for like random reasons, and it's like, yeah, oh well. So, okay, things can be unexpected at times, and you got to be aware of that. And I guess within the case, it's true, the unexpectedness of things, the way how stuff plays out, switching and changing of information and all that, you can never settle down. Okay, there might have been progression made here, but, how truthful is it, or how successful will it be? Could it backfire at a certain point in time? That sort of stuff. Could you apply it to Brookie, like positives, negatives? Well, this is the thing. A positive is, whether it still applies now or just back then, the positive is an individual called Brookie has been able to get in contact with Jim Brenner, aka supposedly the main and only suspect, the person responsible for Dylan going missing, the person responsible for probably killing Dylan. You got to look at the language. You got to be a bit careful at times with how you word stuff, but you get the idea. That's what's being hinted, suggested out. And people here and there have said the only way to crack the case, the only way to get any more new developments or proper leads, is by getting Jim Brenner to reveal information, whether it be the location of Dylan, whether it be him confessing to being responsible, or maybe knowing of intel of another individual out there responsible for it. That sort of stuff. But, if you take Brookie out of the picture, Jim Brenner's not really said anything. I mean, okay, you've had that polygraph test in recent time, but the question still is around, what was that polygraph test on? Was it just to do with questions and answers regarding the gun charges, which are unrelated to Dylan Rounds, or was it to do with Dylan Rounds and asking him questions? That's unanswered at the moment in time, so I can't really say much about that. So that's why I'm not including it here too much. Okay, so you put both that and Brookie aside. No one else has really been able to get through to Jim Brenner. Don Hatley, even though he is a friend of Jim Brenner, long-time friend, it doesn't look like Don Hatley or Don Hately has gone anywhere near Jim Brenner since. And that was since whenever it was, like a month or two ago, when he surrendered a .22 caliber rifle after Jim passed it on to him to store, okay, at his place, surrendered it in, requested some kind of interview with an FBI agent, and then revealed what was going on. So then that kind of like put Jim Brenner in trouble in terms of firearm charges. So then he got arrested. So if a friend does that to you, even though, it's kind of like the right thing to do, you kind of grassing up on someone, stabbing someone in the back, that type of thing. So Jim probably wouldn't be too happy with Don, and I don't think Don wouldn't want to be face-to-face with Jim because it would be awkward and bad things might happen, who knows. So Don hasn't visited or done like any kind of, meeting online from the looks of it. Kurt Wadsworth, don't think so. I think I heard some talks previously, and you can leave your thoughts in the chat, okay? Some people were saying that Kurt Wadsworth could be the guy to reveal stuff to get Jim talking. I don't know how exactly. I'm not sure if I've mentioned it before. If I haven't, you can, list down below is like some kind of connection or ties between Jim Brenner and Kurt Wadsworth, yes or no? I mean, I'm just trying to think. Supposedly disagreements between Kurt Wadsworth and Ty Corbin. You had that drama back then when it came to certain places explored in Chase Venstra's homestead and all that. That got a little bit messy here and there. And then as well to do with, I think it was pancakes. I keep thinking with Kurt Wadsworth, and then that was it. I'm malfunctioning right now. Okay, so I have my limitations when it comes to pronunciation. Galen begins with a G or something, maybe some individual here and there, wherever. Fucking Montel, and they were driving through on the buggy. Going through Montello and past certain places like Lansing Kimbers. And, there's arguments around that saying, oh, should you be recording this and recording that? Is it doxing or not? Is it exposing people? Is it necessary and all that? It's like a triangular effect. Certain people not liking one another, that's normal. But I just don't know if Kurt could get Jim Brenner to talk. And why would Jim Brenner want to talk, though? That's what you got to ask yourself. And as well, Kurt Wadsworth is a bit of a dodgy individual because there's still supposedly ties with him and the key fob, If you haven't already, feel free to check one of my previous videos out about that. Like in brief, it's like Kurt Wadsworth being responsible for the key fob, putting it back there at the trailer because he made a phone call earlier on, which then got the police's attention and the family, got that, diverted them from the farm to Montello, so it left the farm empty. So then whoever could go back, maybe Kurt, and then place the key fob back there. Now, let's tie in a situation, a theory, okay, to reinforce the idea of Kurt visiting Brenner or asking them questions to get answers. I don't know if it would work, but let's just do like a brief theory on the spot, okay? So some people believe that maybe it's still James Brenner who put the key fob back in Dylan's trailer because Brenner is already on the land. There's nothing odd about that. Police know he stays there in the trailer near the grain shed. Nothing's changed there. So he's already on the land. He's already got access to the gate. He can exit as well as enter. Nothing strange about that. Someone like an outsider across the border, Kurt Wadsworth, he would stand out more because he's not normally on that land, nor does he live on it. So maybe they worked together, Kurt Wadsworth and Jim Brenner. Kurt made the call to whether it's family or police, whichever way round, diversion, takes them all away, then it leaves Jim Brenner, to be able to get out that trailer and take the key fob with him back to Dylan's place of living and then carry on as normal. If that was the case, then if Kurt Wadsworth was to have some kind of meeting, an in real life one or a virtual one with Jim Brenner, that could say, hey, you need to come clean, you need to do this for me, or I'll pay you, or I'll give you this if you reveal the truth. That's just one way of looking at it, okay? In my opinion, I don't think it would work out regardless. I think with Jim Brenner, he seems to be an awkward, stubborn individual, okay? I think Candice referred to him in the Heavy D video as a grumpy old man, keeping to himself, okay? That kind of ties in with when, at the early stages of the investigation of Dylan Rounds, when police were, around the area of the grain shed, investigating around Jim Brenner's trailer, as well then as search and rescue, who decided to move on because they felt like they were irritating Jim Brenner and didn't want to cause any trouble, so they moved to the pond near Dylan's place of living and looking around there, as well as other areas too. And I said, I brought up in the past, if James Brenner, is directly responsible, he's in prison now, he's locked up at this moment in time. Obviously, you've still got that court case coming up. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I think it's mainly to do with the gun charges, if I'm correct in saying, and that's scheduled for October, somewhere then. I think I'm correct in saying that. Now, originally it was supposed to be in September, but it was pushed back. Do any of you know why it was pushed back? Is it because of new evidence coming in? Is it because of information switching or changing? I don't know. If you know, feel free to leave a comment down below. But with that being pushed back, it does feel like it's really dragging out. I know only so much progression can be made in the Dylan Rounds case because of limited maybe evidence, but also working with dodgy LE at the moment in time, as well as in the past, Boxelder County. So only so much can be done. But just the actual case itself just feels dragged out. But then again, it's one of those things, if you're waiting for it, it'll take longer than if you're distracted doing other things. So it's just like a little thought there, okay? But yeah, linking back to what I said about James Brenner being stubborn, it's like, with him being in prison, he's really got nothing to gain. How can he benefit now? Especially with that court case coming up, the court day being in October, depending how that goes down, like, he needs to benefit in some way. If he can, then he might reveal certain information and stuff. The only thing he can do is have a bit of fun, play a few games, which is maybe dragging stuff out. You see it with the Moors murderers. What was the guy's name? Tom Brady or something. Wait, isn't Tom Brady that NFL player? Shit. I don't know. I don't know, I've got the names mixed up. But something Brady, one of the Moors murderers, the males, who was the last one to die because the woman, she died earlier before. But the guy who was still alive, they were still looking for one more missing child who was somewhere within the Moors or the Moors land, that's what it's called, area, and he wouldn't reveal it. He kept dragging things out, or like he would say, right, I'm going to tell you the location of where your son is, but then he would suddenly say, oh, I forgot now. And that could be like months and years of waiting for him to eventually reveal something and then go back on it. You see the amount of psychological damage that can do. Like a roller coaster, you could have certain expectations, or you get a little bit excited or very hopeful because they look like they're about to change, to reveal something, open up. You get close and then they just say, "Oh, sorry, I was only joking, I wasn't going to tell you." Or, "Oh, I forgot. Can you give me a few more months and then I should be able to think and then tell you?" And then I think maybe the final one was where Brady ended up just about saying, or was, but still messing around and then ended up dying. So it's like, oh, you never found out. They never got the answer, and that's it. They'll never know. So then that can cause a lot of suffering and pain on the victims of the families and stuff like that. So when it comes to a case like this right now, depending what state of mind Jim Brenner is in, I mean, he doesn't appear to be a psychopath. He's a criminal. He's violent. He's dangerous, but he doesn't appear to be a psychopath. But if he's stubborn and awkward and he finds it kind of amusing, he might still drag things out. It's not for definite, okay? Things can suddenly change, but I'm just putting it forwards as a potential observation, okay? And you can leave your thoughts down below. So, I don't think it's happened yet from the looks of it. I might be wrong, but let's just say the mother of Dylan Rounds decided to suddenly step on in and say, right, I want to talk with Jim Brenner, if that was allowed, okay? You know, Jim Brenner could be like, "Hey there, how's things going?" And then she's like, "I need answers, can you tell me?" And he's like, "Well, I can if you give me this." And I don't mean that in like a dodgy way, I just mean like, it could be money, it could be additional land or something to benefit from. And if that doesn't happen, then he could at some point say, "Okay, I'm going to tell you where Dylan Rounds is. He's over there. No. He's over that way. No. He's over there. Yeah. No, oh, I forgot." Playing around, you know, causing trouble, making people suffer. That's the only enjoyment he gets now because he's locked up at the moment. It's the only power he has, and because with that power and control, you could argue he is the key to solving and to finding Dylan, and that's it. Is that 100% for definite? Not quite, because there could still be other suspects within the case, whether it be a direct suspect, the suspect, and Jim is supposedly innocent, or an associate that worked with Jim who's still out there and hasn't been charged yet. You know, that's what you got to look at. But, you know, in the eyes of some people who believe Jim Brenner is the one, is the suspect, the only suspect, and the one responsible, you know, like from like what Ty Corbin has said, Ty Corbin seems to strongly, firmly believe that Jim Brenner is the one responsible. Okay. I mean, other people will think like that too, but some people will think that it's more than one person involved. And I'm sure there might be some other people out there that might have even deeper alternative theories and thoughts. If you're one of them, you can leave them down. You can leave them in the comment section. Okay, that's fine as it is. Now, if we tie back to Brooke, okay, aside from her having questionably better hair than me, the way I see things is she could be the one that ends up getting more information out of Jim Brenner than anyone else. As I said, I don't know if it still directly applies right now because it feels like things have gone a bit quiet, but at least if you compare to previous times and maybe what other people have tried doing, it seems like she might have made more progress in terms of just starting conversations, being able to ask questions and receive answers without too much resistance or negativity from Jim Brenner. You know, the fact that the way Brookie described how they were chatting and getting on well is a bit of a development in a way, because if Candice and some other people have referred to Jim Brenner as grumpy, maybe a bit miserable, a bit confrontational, unstable, aggressive, and then for him to be just maybe relaxed and talkative to Brookie, then there's a big change there, isn't there? So something's happened, and it might just be the effect and presence of Brookie and what she has and how she talks and operates with Brenner. Now, that's all good. If we tie it into what was said earlier, with like Jim Terry and some of the people within Salty Pancakes live stream had were saying she's a journalist, true crimer, her true intentions, is this her, it's not her first time doing this, that sort of stuff, okay? And there was a quote supposedly said previously where Brookie said, she is good with inmates, and that's with an S. So that does suggest and hint that, you know, it's not her first time, she's done it before, and it makes you think, why has she done it before? You know, is it just because she has an interest overall with true crime, so she moves from one case to another to gather notes, just to learn about things? I mean, you got to look at it from the outside on a basic scale. You know, the odd few people that might watch my videos who says that they write notes down, whether it be to do with my videos or other people out there, and they say they've got like notepads, they've got bullet points, they've got post-it notes of all kinds of information and so on. And those people are normal. They don't have any fantasies, they're not obsessed with anything, they're just interested in the case, but they still write notes down, whether it be to help them understand, to refer back to in the future, you know, because it's hard to memorize everything, isn't it? You know, like with the Kenny Veach case, it took me 5 years, well, not to remember, but looking into it, 5 years plus 2 years of actively covering it on YouTube. So, and that was without writing things down. I didn't use any scripts, didn't write down anything when it came to the 5-year period. But people that are actively involved researching, it makes sense to note things down because then you can compare and contrast later on. But, you know, it's just trying to draw a line down the middle and separate people taking and writing down notes just because they're interested to compare and contrast later, and then people that write down notes because they're a little bit more focused and have other reasons. And it's trying to understand which category does Brookie fall into. And from what people were saying in Salty Pancakes videos and maybe elsewhere, they were saying that she probably falls into that line, that it's to do with befriending someone, acting nice, getting close, maybe emotionally, certain choice of wording, acting like you're interested in that person, so you bring them closer, suck that information out, and then it's bye, and then walks away, does whatever with that information, then moves on to the next person. It would tie in because she said she's good with inmates. So she must have done the same thing what she's done with Jim Brenner to people previous. The question is, does it follow the same bracket in terms of like age range and gender? Does Brookie specifically go after male inmates, maybe of a certain age, older? Is that because she gets on better with that age group? I mean, if you zone out for a second, that can be seen as a normal thing. Different situations, whether it be the age or gender, you might get a female here and there that doesn't get on well with the same gender because of drama, arguments and stuff like that. So they end up getting on better, talking, hanging out with the opposite gender males. Then you might get other times where, no matter what gender you are, you don't seem to get on well with the people of your own age, but you seem to get on better with people who are much older than you. That can happen, okay, and it has happened, and that's normal here and there. But then you get like a dark, well, not like a dark one, but a bit of a deeper one where an individual might get on better with much older people or like much older people because it benefits them in a certain way or it fills a certain void. And that there could be numerous reasons to why. I think the same can apply vice versa as well. So then again, it's trying to figure out what category does Brookie fit into. Is it just simply because she doesn't get on well with people of her own age or gender, so she looks elsewhere? Or is it because it's to fill a fantasy or a void or Or is it just simply out of interest of cases of crime of certain age ranges and genders of people? And you might think, why? What's so important about that? Well, if you research into something, doing some kind of experiment, some kind of study, looking at only one person, although that's a case study, you can't just then generalize those findings and then apply it to everyone else out there. What you might have to do is look at a case of a certain gender and age range, and then repeat that over and over again with different people, with filling those, categories, to see, do they all act the same and react, and what type of information do they come out with, that sort of stuff. And it is also one of those things where, to control certain variables or to get the best outcome or the outcome you want, even if it's not truly a natural experiment or observation, it could be down to the interviewer, the investigator themselves. What gender are they? What age are they? Does appearance, get involved as well? Because people may only reveal something when they are around the correct type of person, whether it be because it benefits them in some way for dodgy or normal reasons, or subconsciously it has an effect on them, their presence, who knows? I mean, if we zone out once again, it's one of those things where you could be neutral, normal, bit basic, but then when you're around the correct person, when you're around somebody with a certain presence, they might trigger something within you, direct, indirect, but internally, to do with a certain part of the brain, a certain personality trait within you, and it suddenly becomes activated, whether you know about it or not, or you've not had an opportunity to show that side. If you come across the correct type of person, then maybe that will show. So this is just like a random on-the-spot example. If you were around hardened individuals, kind of serious, straight face, you probably imitate those sort of actions, and like it's interactional synchronicity, whether that's your true state, your default state, or you're just putting it on just to blend in, to get along. But then let's say there's another part to you, a more genuine side, or just a certain part which can't be displayed here because it just won't work. You come across somebody else who is like, oh my God, I'm really into fashion. Oh my God, look at my clothing. It's out of this world. And then that person might think, oh my God, really? Really? Can I get involved? Oh my God, I want to show you my endless collection and supplies of all my clothing and all my jewelry. Oh my God, you're going to love it. Like that. That's just a rough example. I don't even know why I use that fucking example, to be honest. What a fucking weird example to use. But you get the idea. That sort of stuff. Now, with all that in mind, whether it continues or not, these informal little meetings and questions, you got to try and understand the genuinity. Is that a correct word? The genuinity of it, the naturalness. Is it for the right reasons or not? Obviously, you get certain YouTubers or some kind of investigators in some way or another calling each other out. Some people are accused of only doing it or only trying to find Dylan for the financial gain only and specifically. Other people are being called out and accused of maybe disrupting the case, stopping progression being made. Okay, the police have demonstrated themselves, literally, but maybe certain YouTubers are altering, touching things they're not supposed to, tampering with evidence, that sort of stuff, setting others up. So you got that. Where does Brookie fall in line? Because, you'll have maybe the majority of people involved in the case some way or another will be researching, adding their thoughts, theories, opinions, or going boots on ground, or covering it on a platform whichever way, the majority, because they care for Dylan or they relate in some way or they just want to solve the case like how they would with any other one they might have been involved with in the past. I mean, you look externally and you look at just simple mysteries, may not always be crime, but just mysteries, deep ones. Even if it's not like a real thing and it's one of those ARGs, people still getting involved, trying to crack the codes, find symbols, find deeper hidden meanings, and getting really involved and putting a lot of time and energy and effort in. If people do it there, then people might do it here. And from the looks of it, majority is like that. But, you'll always come across some darkness. You'll always come across some disruptions, roadblocks, and people that either don't want you to find the truth to solve the case, either be because they want to be the ones to be the world's first at doing it themselves, or they just don't want you to find out because maybe they're tied to it in some way, and so on and so on. So it's like trying to figure out, is Brookie doing what she's doing, even if it might be a bit mysterious at times or we don't always know the full picture, but her interacting with Jim Brenner, the key suspect, getting answers out of him, is Brookie doing that to try and get justice, to get Jim Brenner sent down, to get a confession out of him, so then it can be used? That's one way of looking at it. That would make sense. And if she's able to have an effect on him, differently to how maybe other people have tried in the past, then, she should do it. Or is she doing it for very casual reasons, not to solve the case, but just to learn about the criminal? And that's it. So like you go in or you log on, you do your little call, you get the answers, what you want, and then it's like, there you go, I'm out, I'm going, like that. Because it's okay getting a confession out of someone, but you have to have it on record, or you have to have some kind of footage evidence to prove their confession, like maybe a video recording of the conversation. I don't know if that's allowed or not, probably not, or maybe like audio recording, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know if that's happened or not. If she hasn't recorded or she isn't going to, then it's just like kind of pointless then, because they can then go on to like a YouTube live stream call-in and then say, hey, Jim Brenner confessed, he said this and he said that, and other people will be like, cool, yeah, we know, we were suspicious of him from the beginning, but like, where's the actual like proof of him confessing or revealing something? And they're like, oh, I don't have that. Then it's like, well, that's pointless. I don't think that's going to be the case here. Moreover, just not intentions of getting evidence, just getting a confession just to benefit themselves. That's one way of looking at it, okay? Might not be a popular opinion, that, or a popular theory, but it's just one way of looking at it. Is there any corruptness going on, okay? I mean, one of those things in general where if you get a true crimer and they have certain fantasies or they start developing feelings towards a bad person, a dark person, a mysterious individual, such as Jim Brenner, they get on well, they start talking, and then despite what she might have thought beforehand, does she start feeling a bit more lenient towards him because the feelings get in the way, that the emotions cloud one's judgments, and then maybe she stops interrogating him or stops pursuing, trying to get justice. Maybe even acts as some kind of informant, going behind people's backs. I don't know, it could get very dark and deep. Many different ways to interpret it. It's one of those things where, to an extent, if a person is kind of unknown of, or there's not too much about them, and like with a case as well, if a case only has so much like evidence and findings publicly, then the rest to fill in between whilst they're waiting for new developments is just to come up with ideas, maybe make guesses, come up with different theories, especially with like the unsolved cold cases. Same can happen here. So people can't get all defensive, start whinging and whining, saying, oh, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Because it's like, well, calm down. You know, what else can one do in between? You know, just generate certain ideas, share opinions. Not saying that it is literally this or it's literally that, but it's like there's nothing else to work with, so you just do what you can, end of the day. Could this video cause resistance? I don't know, because I don't know how many people know or support of Brookie, okay? I mean, people would have heard of Salted Pancakes a fair bit in recent time. Doug from No Thanks, Ty Corbin, Lance, those people, because they have been very active within the case and doing quite a few videos. Also Tyler Feller, he's you know, done his videos as well. Okay, there might have been criticisms here and there and negatives, but they are fairly known. But is Brookie as known, or are people still kind of figuring out who she is? Maybe this video might help you better understand who she is, maybe. I mean, she does have a channel on YouTube, so she's kind of active. Key point is, it's not like, oh, suddenly start a witch hunt towards them. That's not going to help. That's not going to do any good. So that's not necessary. Just one of those things of time will tell. We'll see what happens. Okay. Do I have any predictions? No, I'm not sure at the moment, because I don't know if like any other interviews have taken place since, any kind of like meetings, prison meetings. One question I will put forward, and you can leave your comments below, but also leave your thoughts in the chat, okay? Has anyone beside Brookie, has anyone else had like a meeting, a prison meeting, physically in real life, or like with Brookie online? Has anyone else bothered? You know, Don Hatley, Kurt Wadsworth, some local within Montello or Lucin, the Rounds family, certain members. Who else? Chase Venstra? No, because he's like charged, so it can't be him. But like anyone else who's within the Dylan Rounds case, anyone else has been mentioned, anyone you know of, Ed Harshberger, has anyone tried meeting, talking to Jim Brenner whilst he's been in prison or not? Because it's like, you know, if you know him, if you're friends with him, then you would, in a way, support him, maybe. Or if you didn't like him and you wanted answers, you wanted justice, then maybe you would try and meet him to get answers or to try and start something. But it just seems like no one has. Is there a reason for that? Is it because people don't like Jim, so they don't want to go anywhere near him? Is it because some people are scared of him and don't want to cause any trouble or grudges? Or, and, is it because certain people who are involved in the case can't go on to talk to Jim because then it would compromise the entire investigation? But they need to be kept separate until a court case or trial, maybe. I don't know myself. Fuck me, I keep slipping off this bed. Why do I keep sliding off it? I don't want to slide off too much because I'll just completely disappear. Yeah, I was going to do like a demonstration then, but then that would be a bit weird. But, you know, leave your thoughts in the chat. Why or who else could, you know, do what Brookie did, okay? And if it hasn't happened yet, then why has it not happened? I mean, you could say the positive is at least Brookie is trying, but it's probably one of those things where, because she's an unknown person, Jim Brenner has never seen or heard of her before, then maybe that's why it works. You need someone on the outside to come in. So there's no biasness, there is no like interviewer effect. to then make the person conceal themselves more and not be open, that sort of stuff. So maybe you just need some stranger to come in. But it's still questioning whether it's for the right or wrong reasons, because you never know, things can twist and turn. But just wanted to bring that up because it was mentioned recently by Pancakes, and I suppose like a new development, if you want, that resurfacing of that like news article and that photo of the person. You can let me know what you think. Are they the same person, or is it two separate people? Even if it is two separate people, it does then make you think, is Brookie actually a journalist or not? Does she have a thing about befriending inmates of a certain age and gender and all that? There's like many different questions within you can ask yourself over time, okay? We don't just end there, because there is a little bit of talk around Doug. I mean, it seems to be one of those things where Doug does get talked about kind of negatively here and there, or most of the time now. There'll be reasons why. I don't look too deep because I guess I'm not really too involved with all the drama. I mean, who knows what could happen at a certain point, but you know what I'm saying. So I'm not going to know all the reasons to why, or all the negatives. But Tyler Feller as well, he's been praised at times but also criticised. It's just one of those things. But like in Salty Pancakes live stream, same video as the Brookie stuff, they're going like saying like, because of the style of Doug's videos, I guess the consistency, the amount of them, and the length, he must be, quite active online. I think Pancakes was saying basically Doug is imprisoned in a way. Like, he's just all about the case. It might not always be for the correct reasons, that sort of stuff. I mean, there's different ways of interpreting it, but yeah, it does make sense because, there's nothing wrong with constantly covering a case, providing you're coming up with valid points and you're not regurgitating yourself too much. I mean, sometimes if you do make lots and lots of videos and, frequent ones, you might end up repeating yourself, so that could be a negative. And because there's only so much you can say about something. But this is the thing, there are positives in general when it comes to repetition. Repetition is when you repeat something, and the reason why that's important is because repetition is to highlight a certain point, to make it bold, to make it stand out, to show significance towards something. And also, in other situations, repetition is necessary to the key to mastery. That's a fucking Zenyatta from Overwatch, that stupid quote with his fucking balls in his hands. He's got more balls than other people could handle. How many was it? Was it 8 balls or 10 balls? I don't know, but you'd grab the balls and then you would chuck them at people. I remember. I had a lot of experience with those balls. Using the character in the game, and you would chuck them out left, right, and centre. But aside from that, what I was saying was, in terms of repetition, it's necessary. Repetition equals consistency, frequency, and you're more likely to believe in something, and so on. And like when it comes to handling of facts, information, providing it is true, okay, or you're under the impressions that that is the truth, and as long as you repeat that over and over again, you're being consistent, you're not derailing the case, you're not causing any confusion, you're not disrupting it. If you suddenly start switching and changing the dates back and forth, people are less likely to believe in you. Your credibility is lost. It might cause people to get confused, and you might end up going backwards on a case. So that's not good. So if someone like Doug repeats himself a lot, but he is saying the same thing, and if it is the truth, then that's not too bad. But I don't know, because he might be switching and changing all over the place. I mean, I have seen him exaggerate at times, so that's not a good thing. I tend to repeat myself quite a bit, and that happened within the Kenny Veach case quite a lot. And that's just simply because when it came to mentioning a certain topic or a certain theory, an individual or group, a moment, event, it just so happened to tie back to a previous event, a previous person, a previous location. And if it's like a timeline, you might as well mention it all or just refer back to it, just so then people briefly understand what you're talking about. Because sometimes what happens is you might be talking about a certain event within a case, use a certain word, a keyword, and then people are like, okay, cool. I don't really know too much about that, or I don't really believe too much in that. But then you say, well, yeah, this happened. Fuck, I've dropped my lid. I'll pick that up in a second. You say, okay, this event occurred, and then that actually ties back to a previous event and how they reacted then, and look how they react now. So something's been in the making, there's build up, there's a grudge boiling between, let's say, Jim Brenner, Dylan, and over time, breaking point. So then people might understand it better. And as well, it's worth just repeating yourself over and over again, because not everyone can internalize everything all at once. You know, that's why people make notes as well, so they can refer back, that repetition of looking back. So people have got handwritten repetition, mine's vocal repetition, same thing basically. And as well, if you get new viewers that come in along the way, they don't know where they are, you know, but if you just mention a few brief points over and over again, it'll eventually get into the mindset, and then they're like, now I know where we are. So repetition isn't too bad. In terms of style of videos, if it is very frequent, you got to make sure that the stuff that's being talked about is at least repetitive but accurate, and if not that, just a variety. Okay, actually I might have a quick drink break. Okay, why not? You can have a drink break as well. I don't know if people like talking about what does one drink or something. Well, here you go, like in the live video premiere, water. There seems to be a split between how people say water. Is it like UK people say water, water, and then Americans are like water? I don't know, one or the other. I just say water. Other people say water, water. They miss out the T. Some people say water, and then the Americans say, can I have some mineral water? Oh my God, I'm so thirsty. Maybe it's like that. I mean, it's not really that important, to be honest. And I only drink cold, wet stuff. I mean, I only drink cold liquid, okay? Not just any wet stuff. That would be a bit, well, not exactly practical, to be honest, I don't think. But anyway, referring back to what I mean by variety, is just like covering a range of different stuff, or with different styles, different topics, different themes, different questions, different angles and perspectives. It doesn't have to be facts, facts, facts. I mean, from the beginning, when it came to the Dylan Brown's case, of when I covered it, the way some people were wording it was like, man, you gotta be locked on like an F-16 fighter jet, man. You gotta be locked on, man. You can't now miss. If you miss, you go out of line, you stay out of line, you're fired, man. You're gonna be buried into the ground and you'll be never seen again. And over time, you know, with me following the same pattern and style of how I covered the Kenny Veach case, which, you know, there's a bit of a difference. The Kenny Veach case is a cold case of a missing person. Dylan Rounds is an active, ongoing investigation treated as a criminal investigation, you know? So there's like a divide there. But in terms of the style of videos, I've been able to continue that. One of the key signature ones is the map analysis, giving an aerial point of view, looking back and comparing before and after, what's changed, what's developed. Does anything else stand out? Is there any routes you could go to look at? The distance of certain objects and items. And and, you know, stuff like that, as well as, well, anything map related, okay? And that's what I did back then, that's what I'm doing now, and it's working, which is good, and it's fun to do. I mean, you know, it's one of those things where you could say, oh, I find this case fun, but then some people get a bit triggered by that and think, oh, you're not taking it serious. This is a serious event. You need to show respect. You need to do this. You need to do that. But there's nothing wrong with saying, oh, I find this case interesting, or I kind of find it fun in a way to look at, to research. But I guess some people are a bit stiff at times when it comes to reacting appropriately. So there is that. Is there anything else? I mean, if I tie it more onto me, this is the thing. I feel, at one point I would say I felt like my style, my methods were still doable, but arguably not as helpful as what other YouTubers were doing. And that's like how I saw things previously, okay? So like maybe like a month or two ago, I might be looking at the odd article online, or looking at maybe a TikTok page, looking at the videos there, like behind the scene type stuff, past things, even the map analysis to an extent early on. I felt like it can provide a different perspective, but maybe it's not as helpful compared to what other YouTubers are doing, like Zavgirl or the Mob Crew, or maybe even Salty Pancakes, because he's boots on ground here and there, as well as Lance and Ty Corbin. They've been full on, and even Scott Natal. But as time went on, and when all those facts and stats and all that information ended up crumbling, switching and changing, that's when I knew it's like a Kenny Veach case, where the do you call it the dance floor? The dance floor is open. I don't know if you want to dance or not. I'm not saying with me, but the dance floor is open, so the opinions, the theories are welcome. You know, that type of thing. Because with the Kenny Veach case, with that being a cold case and unsolved, it's like you can think whatever you like. You can come up with all kinds of ideas: reptilians, aliens, government, military, suppression, repression, kidnapping, killing, pre-planned, you know, all that type of stuff, because there wasn't like lots of hard line facts to say, oh, you can't think this, you can't think that. And it was kind of like the opposite with Dylan Rounds at first, but as we've seen how things switch and change so quickly, and the way the police have handled things, and the way they're saying they're at a dead end, or like the family saying we're at a dead end, the way things have gone, it's like, well, we've got to this point, you know, it's gone to shit, it's gone downhill, so why not have different opinions and theories now, even if they're not cement or concrete? Why not do the alternative route, act in an alt way? You might find something, you might pick up on stuff other people haven't. So it ended up coming in the end, and that's what I mean by variety, covering a range of stuff. Now, when it comes, I'm falling off the bed again. When it comes to Doug, like how Salty Pancakes was referring to, style of videos, the amount of them, they don't really vary, because it's just literally a live stream. And I think Salty Pancakes was saying that Doug depends on live streams, live interactions, live videos, a deadline, and not just like a little video here or there. I just uploaded like that. You know what I'm saying? So it being live, you gotta talk on the spot, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. There's certain deadlines, there's certain pressures, and so on. My videos are in the format of live in terms of the chat. The video itself is pre-recorded, so there's not too many mistakes or inconsistencies, so it does follow a nice flow, although you haven't literally got that full-on interaction, because it's just not practical because of certain conditions or time, because you don't want interruptions. Anything could happen, you know, gorilla could come up and kidnap me, or there's could be like a fire all of a sudden, or an explosion, or someone interrupts, or there's voices, and it's like, you don't want that because it might reveal something, you know. It's like with in certain rooms and stuff, you know, if there's any barcodes, if there's any mirrors, they will be flipped, they will be turned down or moved away because you don't reveal too much. This is the fastest I'm talking in quite a while. When you wonder why I'm talking this quick, because some people wonder why I'm talking slight times and you think I'm boring, you fall asleep. But now, what do you think when I'm talking like this? Is it better? Is it easier to understand or not? Do you want me to talk into a normal voice once again? Don't worry, I will talk in a normal voice. So, yeah, I'm a guy. You revealed a different side to me. Really fast talking Andrew, talking like a robot. Great. But yeah, was there anything else I was to mention? No, I can mention that in a short video, I think. But it's just like criticisms towards Doug and how he's gone about things. You know, no surprise there. It's always been like a back and forth battle between the two. It probably won't end, but oh well, it happens. Maybe it might reveal something down the line, who knows. But yeah, as said, we'll see what happens next. Key line, we'll see what happens next. What developments, if there's any news updates on YouTube, because I've not seen any news updates in a while. Like the East Idaho News Channel, they do it maybe once a month or once every 2 months, like that, just to catch up on things. And I do prefer those videos over all the others because direct questions, but also allowing whoever to openly speak, clearing up any loose ends and stuff like that. And it's quite clear. The videos aren't too long, so it's compact, it's good. I like them. Fox 13 News Utah or ABC4 News, not seeing any more updates by them on YouTube. Okay, hopefully there is, because that's useful to look at and stuff and just see how they cover things, because they can make mistakes at times or cause more trouble than it's worth. I mean, the last one probably was, that was an intense brief, wasn't it? Breathless. Who took my breath away? I don't know. But ABC4 on their website, yeah, it was on their website. I didn't have access to it because, once again, the country thing. But credit to Julie and was it anyone else? No, I think it was just Julie. Credit to Julie. She got like a screenshot of the article, and then I was able to read it out and then give my opinions. But it'd be good as like a video format as well, to see the pictures, if there's any interview footage and stuff like that. I don't know if Duty Ron's done anything since. I've not really seen any videos pop up of his in recent time in the search bar, but maybe some will come sometime. It tends to be more to do with directly about the family, like the interviews and stuff. And you can only do so many of them at the end of the day. You know, you still got the videos by Earthworm Infotainment. They're still going. It's one of those things where you look at them as well and you say, oh, they're constantly out there every single day. You could be under that impression because there's a video almost every single day. But then from what other people have said, it's not a problem. You know, you got to space it out and of timing and file size. But what some people have said is what Earthworm Infotainment does. Lance Ty, just Lance himself, goes out there, numerous recordings, you know, different ones, different videos. And that could be once a week or twice a week, 3 times a week, maybe, if there's time. And then with all that video footage, cutting it down and then uploading it bit by bit once a day. So it creates that illusion that it looks like they're out searching every single day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's common sense to break it up just in terms of the timing, file size. Like, I'll give you an explanation. Let me just grip this bed. I'm falling off. I had better grip in the last video when I was doing that dodgy video. That sounds a bit weird when I say that. But anyway, man, when it came to me recording like a 4K video in 60 frames, fuck me, that took a while. It could take, depends the length of the video as well. Like, I think I've got like a 34-minute 4K 60 frame recorded video of doing like an exploration of an abandoned place or something. And yeah, it might look nice visually, it might look smooth, the frame rate on a phone, but how long did it take to upload? Probably like a day or two. In terms of the processing, the 4K, that took like maybe 4 days, 3 to 4 days. That's how fucked up it is. That's why it's just best sticking to 1080 30 frames per second, and instead of having like a really long video, just chop it up into like 10-minute, 15, 20-minute videos. In my case, it can't be done that way because it'd be too fragmented in terms of the style of my videos. Mine, it's not beats on ground, it's talking, so it needs to be all together so it's not broken up or confusing. Where if it's just visual, it's easier to pick up on stuff from where you left off and where you went. So you can just chop it up, and that's what Timelines did. So for time efficiency, because as you remember, when they uploaded, Kimber said when they tried uploading a 17-minute video or something, no, a 17-minute video, the actual upload time took 2 hours. So, you know, if they've got lots of footage, you know, you could have like 7 videos throughout the week, so it looks like they're going out every time. But no, let's say 60. I don't know, my brain's malfunctioning now. That's not good. Where's my hand when I need it? I'm going to draw mysterious stuff. Does this actually help me? No. I mean, this is the thing, off subject, who was it now? Was it Nella grasping her pearls for whatever reason, or it could be Sunshine said, if you're going to have a hand, it needs to be real. If it's not real, you're not going to get the true touch, the true experience, okay? I don't know why that came in, to be honest. It's probably something to do with one of the dodgy videos, but yeah. Random hand lying about, does it actually help me? No, it doesn't. But maybe if I get slapped, ooh, I'm going to do it harder, boy. Maybe that could, no, it really done fuck all, to be honest. Yeah, I just remembered it. So like I said, you got long video, and it's all cut up, and based off maybe internet connection and their situation, Lance and Kimber, it just works for the best, so that would tie in there. So yes, that is officially it of this video. Hopefully it made sense. Try and include the more important up-to-date findings at the start of the video, and then let it trickle through with the other stuff and opinions. So as I said, if there's any additional points you want to mention or corrections that need to be made, feel free to do so in the comments section down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. We'll see what happens next, and goodbye.